NCAA National Championships. You've run in a variety of races over a variety of years with, I guess, different levels of pressure. You had the NCAA East region. Is this race different from other races? Is this race different from all other races you've ever run in?
I wouldn't say ever, because I've been in nationals. Well, I've been in nationals twice before, and one time I was actually up front competing. So besides that, like, everything else you do during the season, like, this race is definitely different. But when you get back to nationals, it's the same thing as it was before. So kind of used to it, but still, it's only my third time being in a big race like that with a lot of pressure. So looking forward to it.
Your thoughts?
I think it's a little different for me because this is my chance to get an All-American. The other years I've been at nationals, it's, you know, we've gone into it with the goal of being All-American and just falling short of that. So I think it's an important race for me to finish somewhere in the top 40.
Now, to some extent, I mean, when you've been there in the past, while certainly one hopes for individual honors, you've always been there as part of a team. This time you're there as individuals. Does that make it different in any way?
I mean, I'm just going to be hanging out with Eric and Gary the whole entire time, but besides that, I don't think so. I mean, I'm still going to go out there. It's the same thing. You put it 100% no matter what, whether it's a team, whether you're by yourself. So I'm going to go out there and hopefully try and contend for the win if I can.
Yeah, I don't think it matters all that much because nationals is always, you know, just depends on who can run the best that day. So it's not so much of a team thing, it's more individual once you get to nationals. So I think for me and Jeff, it's still an individual thing.
I know I've asked this before and I'll ask it again. I suspect the answers haven't changed. And that is, in this situation, it's no longer about time. It's about competing, it's about winning, it's about where you place. Do you prefer that? Are you more comfortable in that? Does it make it different in that it is, as I said, about where you finish?
Yeah, now, like before, I always used to say that I was still looking at the time because I wanted to get the confidence for nationals. But after running really fast at regionals, I feel like now, time doesn't matter at all. It's the last race of the season. I'm going to go out there and stay with the leaders and just race. That's all it is.
Before I let Eric answer, let me follow it up. As you said, last time we talked, you said you wanted time for confidence. Did the time in the East region give you the confidence, give you what you were looking for?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I ran 28:53. Given it wasn't fully like a full 10K, I mean, it's still quick if you convert it to a full 10K. So I believe I probably have the fastest time in the country from the regional meets. So that gives me a lot of confidence going into nationals.
Eric, it's not about time, it's about place. Do you like that?
Yeah, I mean, for time, it's never really been a whole big deal for me. You know, I always obviously like to run as fast as I can, but it's always been about place for me, I think, through my career. And for this race, it's definitely about placing somewhere in that top 40.
I think one of you said it at some point, you used the word pressure. Is there pressure in this situation?
I think so. Just being the last race, like, you just want to run well, and we both have like certain expectations of us. So just trying to meet those expectations and finish the season on a high note. It's definitely a little bit of pressure going in.
Yeah, the pressure's definitely on for it being our last cross-country race that we're ever going to race in our college careers. So I think the pressure to finish the best we can, you know, Jeff has a chance to win it, and having the chance of being an All-American, it's definitely a lot of pressure.
Talk to me about strategy. Is there a particular, in your mind, is there a particular way you want this race to unfold? And is there a particular strategy that, Eric, you hope will get you an All-American honor, and Jeff, you hope will win you a national championship?
I think for me, like, I can't really kick too well. Like, there's a lot of guys in D2 that are track guys that just happen to run cross country because you kind of have to. So a lot of those guys are faster than I am. So if it ends up being like a sit and kick kind of race, like goes out slow and finishes hard, I probably can't do as well as if it was like a hard race the whole entire time. So I'm hoping it ends up going out hard and just turn it into a race like the whole entire 10K, not just like the last 2 miles or something.
Is it about sticking with the leaders from the first step on?
Not the first step. I mean, I can't go out too hard, so for myself, like what I think is too hard. But I'll go out relatively hard. Like I'll be up there the first mile, and eventually, hopefully after that, I'll be right up front, like with those top guys.
Eric, what's your approach?
Strategy for me is to pretty much go out a little bit more conservative than I did at the regional meet. I went out a little hard, hoping that I could run with those leaders. I'd like to go out a little bit slower, a little more conservative, and then work my way through the pack up until the top 40, top 30 places. But it's really just all about controlling through the first 5K and then get rolling on the second 5K.
Now, neither of you have seen the course. What is this, Joplin, Missouri, I guess?
Yeah.
Neither of you have seen the course, to the best of my knowledge. Does it make a difference?
I mean, not really. We've gone into, every time we go to nationals, we usually like haven't been there before. So we go Wednesday, so we'll get to run the course Thursday and Friday, and we'll get a little feel for it. I mean, given we don't get to like work out or do anything fast on it, I mean, that hurts us a little bit compared to the schools who had the regional meet at Joplin. But it's not that big of a difference. After you get to run it 2 days, it's just go out there and race. It's not too much you have to memorize or anything, so it's not bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking over a course, it's easy to get it stuck in your mind, and we like to figure out where we want to get moving on the course, and we'll have plenty of time doing that, seeing the course 2 days before we have to race it.
And I guess finally, gentlemen, do you worry about each other at all when you're out there, or are you just so focused on what you're doing that for at least that half hour, it's tunnel vision?
I mean, I feel like when we start the race and we're still close to each other, I like to make sure Eric doesn't fall down or anything. But I don't know. And then I feel like after that, it's just pretty much I'm just focusing on my own race until once I cross the line, and then I get pretty excited to see how the rest of my team does, which is just Eric for this race. So it'll be interesting to see if we get that All-American once I finish. Hopefully. I mean, for me, hopefully I finish before him.
Yeah, I mean, not that I ever think about what he's doing up front, but it is good to know Gary sometimes will let me know through the race where Jeff is, how he's running up front, and I think it's a motivating thing for me, to hear that he's up in the front. I remember at Nationals 2 years ago when he finished third, to hear that he was up front. It motivates you to keep working hard and pushing a little bit harder. So in that sense, I guess, yeah, it's a little bit knowing where he is, but just finish the race individually.
All right. Gentlemen, I thank you. I congratulate you both for heading to Nationals. I wish you both well, and look forward to talking again. Thank you.
Thank you.
The two of your runners head to Nationals, Jeff Veiga and Eric MacDonald. I know much of the season is built, developed, worked so that they are reaching their peak at this time of the year. In your mind as their coach, are they where they need to be going to Nationals?
Yeah, last weekend, or 2 weekends ago, I guess, Jeff ran his best race of the season, maybe the best race of his life at our NCAA regional meet. So he's certainly right where he should be. Eric had a good race, so he's definitely heading in the right direction. I still think he's got one more step along the way, and hopefully we can bottle up what Jeff did at the regional meet and do that at Nationals. And if we do that, there's, he'll be somewhere in the top 10, and if you're somewhere in the top 10, then you have a chance to win it.
You know these guys, you know their character. When I talk to both of them, they talk about this race being different. It's not about times, it's about competing, the compete level. Are these the type of guys that excel in those situations?
Yeah, Jeff always had. He's not super fast leg speed wise, so he's much better, in just a race situation where he's not racing the clock. And Eric has done a good job. I mean, being a 3-time all-regional runner, and this is his 4th trip to nationals, so he knows what it takes to compete, and he's been to nationals indoors as well, so he'll do a good job, and hopefully we come back with 2 All-Americans.
In that they're individually have their own style, their own strengths, their own weaknesses, are the strategies for each very different from the other, or in this sort of race are the strategies similar?
Jeff's strategy is basically going to be get out with the leaders and run in that pack, and that's definitely not what Eric's strategy is going to be. It's going to be to lay back a little bit, try to be somewhere in the top 50, and at the end, hopefully be somewhere in the top 40, which is the last All-American spot is 40th, and ultimately that's our goal for him, is to be somewhere in there. And Jeff's goal really is to put himself right in the heat of the action and hang in there and see what happens over the last half of the course.
Yeah, let's take, at least in Jeff's case, a lot of those who are Division II cross-country runners are also track athletes who may have strong kicks. For Jeff, is it a matter of turning in such a strong performance early that it doesn't come down to who has a better kick?
Yeah, I mean a little bit, but once you're 10,000 meters in or 9,800 meters in, it's whoever's feeling the best. You know, he may not necessarily be the fastest guy out there, but he definitely, you know, for the last 200 meters of a 10,000 meter, it's a little different than who's the fastest 1,500 runner. Especially because, you know, with the 10 or 12, 14 guys that have a chance to win it, they're all going to be putting the hurt on each other for a good 30 minutes before they get to that point. Certainly you'd love to be comfortable during that last straightaway and have a big lead and be able to celebrate a little bit like he did at the regional meet, but chances are that's probably not going to happen, and it's going to be a competition right down to the end.
Typically in a race such as this, a national championship cross-country event, typically what's the course like? Is it a more testing, more demanding course than we typically see during the year, or cross-country is cross-country, all the courses are the same?
No, there's definitely different courses, and it really, to be honest with you, depends on the year and who's hosting. This year's a pretty fast course at Missouri Southern. We've run there. I think 6 years ago we ran there. So neither of these guys have been here, but Angus MacDonald graduated last year. That was his freshman year last time we ran there. So he gave the guys a pretty good layout of it. Ruben Sanka, who obviously trains with us still, also gave them a good layout of what the course is like. So they have a pretty good sense of what they're looking at. And, certainly this course is probably more advantageous to Eric than it is to Jeff.
They've never run on it. They will get to look at it anyway, and I don't know if they get to work out on it before the race, but they get a chance to look at it. Does it make a difference that they haven't competed on that course, or no?
Certainly it's an advantage if we could have gotten out there and run on it before, because you really know how it runs. When you jog it, you kind of get a sense of what it runs like, but it can be deceiving for sure compared to what it really runs like on race day. You know, we'll get a chance to jog the course on Thursday and jog the course on Friday, and you know, hopefully with the information they've got from Angus and Ruben, that they have a pretty good sense of what they're looking at. You know, they both know what they have to do, and they're both fifth-year seniors, so you know, that's certainly an advantage rather than having a freshman or sophomore, you know, out there that hasn't been through it before. You know, these guys have each been to nationals, you know, 3 previous times, so they definitely will know what to do, and hopefully we have good days on Saturday.
I guess finally, I know for this university in the past the team is gone, but I suspect there are an awful lot of pretty darn good runners at various schools that aren't going and have never gone. It's got to be a bit of a feather in this program's cap that year in and year out we've got people competing for a national championship.
Yeah, you know, it's obviously we were disappointed 2 weeks ago. You know, we did not race well, and you know, besides these 2 guys, you know, everybody else ran, you know, under what their best was. You know, and that's disappointing. But the guys have really taken heart that, you know, the 2 fifth-year seniors who cheered on the team to a championship a year ago when they were sitting out, you know, are the ones that got a chance to go, and that's a real plus that, you know, these guys do get a chance to compete. And, you know, our goal every year is to make it as a team, and, you know, not that this isn't important, but obviously the ultimate goal is to get the team here, and now we'll take whatever positives we can get out of this, and hopefully we come back with 2 All-Americans over the weekend. If we do that, you know, it certainly heals a lot of the wounds from 2 weeks ago, and you know, if we can get Jeff back in the top 10 at the national championships, you know, if either or both of those happen, we're going to come back pretty pleased overall with our season.
Okay, Coach. Thank you.
Thanks.